Welcome to the Life Jacket Podcast, where we talk about topics to help you get through the waves of life. I'm blessed. We got my co host over there, AJ. And before we get started, we're going to always start with the win of the week. So, AJ, what's your win of the week?
My win of the week was I just got back from Cuba. So I
Okay.
celebrated my 10-year CAP anniversary. For those who don't know, I'm a member of CAP Alpha Psi. And so I got to spend 5 days in Cuba. My line brothers got to explore the country. It was beautiful. Such a very historic, beautiful country. Really enjoyed myself. Got to get away from work. Got to hang out with some of my bros. As we get older, you really don't get to see your friends as much as you used to, especially when everybody's evolving their careers,
Yeah,
starting
facts.
families, getting married. So it was just great to be around them for the weekend. I really enjoyed myself. How about you?
Absolutely. So, my win of the week, a little bit with real estate. So, we put a house on the market and we ended up getting an offer within 7 to 8 days
Hmm.
over asking. And so, at least that part of the transaction is completely over. And so, it was nice because the market's hard. The
Hmm.
market's definitely hard. And so, that was my win of the week. And now we're just working on finishing up that transaction. But a blessing. Thank God for that. No pun intended. But now, since we got our win of the week out of the way, let's get into our topic. So, our topic today is understanding your why. So, what do you think about that?
I feel like in order to understand your why, you have to experience as many things as you can. You can't just hear about something, talk about something, read about something. You actually physically have to go out and experience it. That's the only way you're going to understand your why. And if you don't, you're going to wind up falling in love with something that you don't really like. And I feel like that's what happens a lot of the times with people. How many people do we know they don't like their job and
Tons.
they work a job they don't love? And they'll talk about, well, I really want to, start my own baking company, or I really want to be a physical trainer, or I really want to become a pilot, but they
Hmm.
never take the time to enjoy that experience, or they never
Yeah.
take the time to do it. So you really don't know if that's your why until you do that. So for me, it's going out and experiencing as many different things as you can to really understand, what your why is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. That same type of concept. Like you have to have a passion,
Hmm.
right? And like you said, experiences. In order for you to discover what you're passionate about, you have to actually go out there and experience it. And then once you've actually discovered that, having the impact, whether it's yourself or whether it's on other people, how is your passion going to impact other people?
Hmm.
And then making sure that all of that correlates into the values of who you really are that we talked about in the last episode.
Hmm.
So I think it's all just now tying into like discovering who you are and now what is your why. And so yeah, so why is your why?
So for me, I would say, well, I know. So, for those that don't know, I talked about this in the first episode. I dealt with a lot of like bullying, which led to low self esteem, low self confidence. And I know what it's like to deal with that for a really long time. You feel like you're a shell of yourself. You compare yourself to everyone. You're trying to fit in. You want to try new things, but you don't have the confidence to try new things. And that can cripple you for a really long time. And for me, I didn't really see anybody who overcame low self confidence, low self esteem.
Hmm.
I never had that exemplified for me. And what was so crazy is that when I was going through that, nobody, even from who was older, really talked about it or gave back or anything. So I didn't
Yeah.
really know how to navigate that situation. And I know there are people out here who still struggle with this: high school, college, young adults who still deal with that low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and have never overcome it. That's
Hmm.
why I became a certified life coach, to help people bridge that gap, because I've been on both sides
Yep.
where you feel like you're stuck versus the other side where you overcome it and you start thriving. And so that's my why. And I know there are people out here that really struggle with it. And I want them to know that, hey, listen, you can overcome this low self esteem, low self confidence, and thrive and live the life you want to live and not feel like you're stuck. So
Hmm.
that's my why. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do.
So your why is kind of like it's for you, right?
It's,
Specifically.
it, it's specifically for me, but it's also specifically to help other people who
Okay.
are going through this, because there's a lot of people who struggle
Yeah.
with it. And you'll get stuck if you don't overcome it. And so that's kind of my why. How
Okay.
would you say yours is?
So my why is about my past,
Mm-hmm.
present, and future.
Mm-hmm.
So the past is not necessarily specifically on just me, but my family, my grandparents, all the sacrifices that they've done to provide the opportunities for me as an African American man
Mm-hmm.
to be here where I am at today. And so that's like the past part of it. And then the present is for me to continually do everything that I'm pursuing at 100% to where I want to make sure my finances are right. I want to make sure that there's generational wealth. I want to make sure that the fitness is all tied in as to one. And so if I do that, then my future, whether it's my family, whether
Mm-hmm.
kids in the future, other kids that can use this information, it's kind of a tie in. And like I said, I like helping people.
Mhm.
So that's my why, is because I look at them and then their opportunities or their sacrifices that created my opportunities, and I want to do that same thing. And so because growing up, I don't think that it was available
Mhm.
as much as it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And now since we have YouTube, which we're currently on, and
Mm-hmm.
all these other social media platforms and the knowledge that's out there, I feel like if I can practice what I preach, my why can expand to other people, and once again just help other people out.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to spin because a lot of people do need the information you want to provide, especially on the internet. There's so much stuff that people shouldn't be listening to, and you can get caught up in. So it's really good to, that we both want to help people put out positive content that's really going to help people, just not for now, but for generations to come. So I definitely respect that where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
For your why.
And so, in regards to really understanding your why and asking yourself these questions for the viewers back at home, simple questions, right? So like, why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you eat the things you eat? Why do you do the job that you do? Why do you wear the clothes that you wear? Like, those are things that you need to consider that'll help you kind of identify your why. Because if you don't know, once again, it's about knowing who you are and then knowing what your why is and finding that passion. And so, like you said, in regards to your experiences of being bullied and so on and so forth, I remember you were talking about the clothes you wore
Mm-hmm.
back in high school and stuff like that. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, just whatever.
Right?
I literally, you made a good point when you say why wake up this morning. When people say they're not morning people, that's because you don't have any purpose or you have no reason to wake up. That's why you don't like getting up. You just wake up like, oh, I gotta get up and go to work. And I get it. We've all been there. But like when people say not morning people, you don't have like something to look forward to. Like you don't have a why to wake up. So you're kind of already starting your day off on a tough note. So I agree. Like that really hit home. Like, when when you're waking up in the morning, like try to have something you want to wake up forward to, whether that's journaling, meditation, prayer, planning your day, something just to kind of get your day going, at least try to start your day off right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so basically it's like you're saying, like, your day should be intentional.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, you don't know your why. Like everything you do throughout the day, it should have a purpose, and it should be to identify what your why is. And then once you grasp that passion, then you can constantly go forth with having something to fall back on, like especially when it's hard.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if you took two people and somebody who knows their why and somebody who doesn't, and you ask them how do they go from their day to day, the person who knows their why, they have their day planned out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They have their day planned out versus somebody who doesn't. Like, I just get up, roll out of bed, hop on Zoom or go into work, whatever, come back home and watch Netflix or whatever you do to decompress some work. But that is really, really important to understand your why. And it's more important because, when you have discovered your why, like if you're somebody who has discovered your why, when you feel tired, when you feel like you want to say no, when you don't want to go to the gym, when you don't want to make that sales call, you have to fall back on your why. Your why will keep you pushing forward and will keep you going, because you're going to have days where you don't want to do it. You're going to have days where you feel tired. You're going to have days where you want to give up, but your why is really going to help you push forward, because it's just like any career. Like, you're going to have those days where you're just like, man, like, I don't want to do this. We all have days. If you work out, you go to the gym. I really don't want to work out today. But the days you don't want to work out are your best days. And so just making sure, like, when you do discover why, you have to lean on it. And when you have your why, your why will keep you going, to keep pushing forward, to keep going, to not want to give up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then based upon what you said, like you're talking about like being fatigued, like fall back on your why. When you want to say no, fall back on your
Your
why.
why, yeah.
Simple as that. Like you said, the gym, the sales call, these are all things that you might not want to do. Everything that you do is not necessarily something that you feel like doing. Not
Hmm.
every time you want to feel like doing X, Y, Z, but your why is it's like your cushion. It's definitely your cushion. And sometimes you may have to reevaluate your why.
Hmm.
Your why can change.
Yeah.
Like maybe when you were in high school, your why wasn't the same why as it is now. Like,
Hmm.
hey, why do I go to school to get good grades? And that probably was it. So
That's it.
mom didn't beat me because
Yeah.
of a report card.
Right.
That was your why.
Right.
Because
Seriously.
you didn't want your butt
Yeah,
getting
right.
whooped. But now it's different. Like now we found our why is for the reasons that we have it. And so that's also another point is have your why and go throughout your goals as much as possible and lean on that. But then also, if you feel like your why is not substantial enough for you to maintain the the energy that you're supposed to have, reevaluate that as well
Mhm.
and figure out their true why. And that's when it goes back to the beginning of where you're talking about experiences. Like you have to have experiences. Like, sometimes for me, my why, I used to go to the gym and stuff like that because I thought I was going to play Division 1 basketball, right?
Mhm.
So, but obviously that didn't happen. But I still worked out. Now my why for going to the gym is for my health.
Mhm.
Things change over time, and as long as your values are not changing,
Mhm.
as long as it's positively impacting yourself, it doesn't matter. You can change it as many times as you want, as long as you're consistent with doing something to progress yourself.
And
So, you have any takeaways or?
yeah, just one more point. I think one thing is, like you said, you can't just read about it, hear about it, talk about it.
Absolutely.
You have to literally go out and experience as many different things as you can. And I would say, like, my biggest takeaway is if you're somebody who doesn't know their why and you're trying to discover your why, this is what I believe you should do. You have to really sit down and think about things, what motivates you, what keeps you up at night, what gets you excited to wake up in the morning, and really start leaning into that. For example, if you know that you want to be a pilot, for example, and it's something you're passionate about, but you also work a full time job, find a pilot school or where you can maybe do like a test flight or like a class you can like learn to be a pilot off hours
Yeah.
and go experience that and really try something that you're passionate about because there's nothing worse, and most people can relate, being at a job you don't like and feeling like you're just there and you're just wasting your time and there's something bigger for yourself than just this job. So I would say my biggest takeaway is definitely take the time to sit down, reflect, figure out what motivates you, keeps you going, and really, discover your why.
Absolutely. And then for me, my takeaway, same thing as in regards to you can change your why. And then you kind of opened up a little door. Mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Mentorship is very helpful
Mm-hmm.
in discovering your why because sometimes you might have a skill or an attribute that you may be good at that you don't realize it. And then somebody from the outside is looking at it and like, hey, you can be good at this and you might enjoy doing it and not be able to see the expansion that it can take off
Mm-hmm.
or something along that regards. Like you're good at talking to people and you're good at being a life coach. And somebody could have told you like, hey, why don't you be a life coach or something like that? And then now your why is now created based upon other people giving you positive reinforcement and realizing that, hey, this is something that I want to do and something that I can be good at. So, like you were talking about the pilot and taking the test flights and all the experience, also take other people's opinion as well, especially if it's positive,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of help understand your why. Because sometimes you just might be lost and
Mm-hmm.
you just might not know, but there can be other people that want to see you do well to help you understand your why. So that's what I got for today. And you want to?
One more thing, one more takeaway. Pivot off that while we're
Absolutely.
going. If you want to ask people who care about you, don't just ask anybody. Like
Oh
ask
yeah,
specifically,
absolutely.
ask people who will give you intentional feedback. Like ask them, hey, like, what do you think are some of my strengths? And have them write it, like name me 3 of my top strengths and send them to you. Or
Mhm.
what could you see me doing? Because some people, not everybody, but you do have people who you think are close to you,
Oh,
and they're not
God.
that close to you.
Haters.
You'll have those, and they'll kind of steer you in the wrong direction on purpose. So just make sure you're being intentional. But
Yeah, absolutely.
now that we're done that, appreciate everybody's likes, follows, subscriptions throughout the last couple of weeks. We really do appreciate it. It's been great.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate every follow, every subscription, people reaching out to us individually, letting us know like, hey, we really like your podcast, we like the content, giving us feedback. So make sure if you found this podcast helpful, share it with somebody. Be sure to like, subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. So the Life Jacket P on other platforms. But if you go to our Instagram, the Life Jacket P, in the link tree, we have all of our social media links in the bio. And so, yeah, we just want to thank you guys so much. The support is greatly appreciated. And again, thanks so much. Make sure you guys find your why if you haven't, and be out for the lookout for the next episode.
See you.